Chapter 1. The Family. Dionisio opened his eyes and slowly blinked. Through the meshes of his hammock he looked about the room. The other hammocks, mother's and father's and great-grandmother's, were already tied to the rafters for the day. Only his sister's small hammock of pink and white thread, though empty, swung beside his own. Again he had overslept. Here's the picture. Always at night he made such fine resolutions. Tomorrow, he would tell himself, I will get up at dawn and help father. I will bring in the firewood and water the goats before school. And always in the morning, his fine resolves forgotten, he lay clinging to sleep and his dream. He slept so soundly it was hard at times to wake up. Through the open door the sun came in, quick and yellow, and with the sun the early daytime noises of the bush, the shrill clamor of the chachalacas, the soft cooing of doves, the liquid honey-sweet notes of the peach. The sound stirred Dionisio's consciousness like soft lapping water. From the kitchen, just outside, came the sound of mother's and great-grandmother's voices and Concha's happy laughter. Except for the kitchen, which was a separate room outside, the room in which the boy lay was the whole house. The sides were made of young trees, cut from the bush, placed upright and fastened with vines. The floor was the earth. The roof was thatched with leaves of guano palm. The furniture, too, what there was, a bench, a table, low stools, the altar at the end of the room, was made of trees cut from the bush. Everything that Dionisio's family used and needed came from the forest that closed in around the small village and closed out the outside world. The bush dominated the thinking of the people. From the bush came life, corn, animals, healing herbs, wells with water, and from the bush came death. Not only the corn gods and rain gods lived in the bush. Evil winds carrying sickness and bad fortune lived there too, and witches and giants and all manner of supernatural beings that great-grandmother sometimes talked of around their fire at night. Buried in the bush were the ancient stone cities. Far away in the bush, the people first heard the rain at the end of the dry season, long before the rain reached the village. Louder and louder screamed the noisy chachalacas. Just outside and in the doorway, hens scratched, cackling. A little yellow dog ran into the room and poked a cold, wet nose through the hammock mesh, softly licked the boy's cheek. But Dionisio continued to swing in his hammock, half awake, half asleep. Tigri, 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 the peach bird sang, calling Dionisio by name. He had been baptized Dionisio, because that was the name of the saint on whose day he was born. But no one, except the schoolmaster, ever called him anything but his pet name, Tigre, jaguar. The name suits, Mother had often said. His skin is the wild honey color of the jaguar, and he is spirited and mischievous and curious. Yes, and lazy too, great-grandmother would add, like all jaguars, and he thinks only of amusing himself. The boy is well named. Remembering great-grandmother's words, Tigre sat up suddenly, fully awake. Aye, here he lay as a sleepy-eyed as a cat today, when father planned to go into the bush to start milpa. He rolled up his hammock and tied it to the rafters with the others. At the end of the room he poured some water from the water jar into a basin and bathed. Then, scarcely stopping to dry himself, he put on a clean white shirt and the short white cotton trousers he wore for every day, and hurried outside. In the kitchen, mother and great-grandmother were shelling corn. Concha, too, had a pan in her lap, though she was only 5. Here's the picture. She jumped up quickly, seeing Tigre, and the corn grains scattered, to disappear at once inside the hens and the dog. Here comes our privileged one, great-grandmother said, our fine jaguar. Tigre did not answer. He was getting used to great-grandmother's scolding. Mamich, little old grandmother, had lived with them ever since he could remember. She was as shriveled as a dry dead leaf and as brown. Her hair was white and all her teeth were gone. Tigre remembered other years when Mamich had been nothing but kindness to him, but lately, almost since the death of his 3 brothers, nothing he did seemed right. In my father's house, great-grandmother said, my brothers got up with a day star and brought in firewood. Boys learned early that they must work if they wished to eat. Mother put down her pan and got up to give Tigre his breakfast. Atole and some of yesterday's tortillas toasted in the iron griddle, placed on the 3 stones over the open fire on the floor. Let it be, Mamich, Mother said gently. He is only a child. He will be a man with man's work and man's worries soon enough. He's 12, Great-grandmother said, nearly a man. What kind of a man will he be, doing only what he pleases? Tigre ate hungrily, stuffing down tortillas, gulping the hot atole. He tossed a tortilla to Dog, and Cat jumped down from the corn crib and wound herself, softly begging, around Tigre's legs. Father has gone for the wood. I watered the goats, Concha said, relating for Tigre the small happenings of the morning. Tigre bent lower over his atole. His cheeks burned with shame. Then Father came into the yard. He had a load of wood on his back, and he bent to unload it and pile it neatly against the side of the house. Great-grandmother began to grumble all over again. When I was a girl, no man would think of doing his son's work. He is only a cub, Father said. He likes to dream and sport a little, like all young animals. He will sober in time. You too spoil him, Great-grandmother said. Because you lost three sons from fever, all within a week, is no reason to make a weakling of the fourth. Father went into the house and took his gun and axe from the rafters. Mother handed him his hunting bag with his calabasa, a gourd bottle filled with water, and some masa, dough made from boiled ground corn and water, wrapped in a banana leaf. Ready, Tigre? Father said. Aye, Tigre was ready. He crammed down another tortilla, grabbed his hat and hunting bag and slingshot, and hurried after Father. Dog, his little yellow tail curled happily over his back, ran after Tigre.